Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at an old photo, maybe one from your 30s or 40s, and whispered to yourself, "If I only knew then what I know now"? I think we all have. There's a quiet kind of wisdom that only shows up with time. Not because we've figured everything out, but because we've finally stopped pretending we need to. We've lived enough to know what actually matters, and what doesn't. I'm 80 years old. And if you're over 50, I'd like to speak to you, not as a stranger, but as someone who's walked ahead a few miles on this road. I've seen the world spin faster than I ever thought possible. I've watched people chase careers, build homes, lose themselves, find themselves again, and I've done it all, too. But here's what hasn't changed: the heart of a full, meaningful life. That, my friend, becomes clearer with every sunrise you survive. So today, I want to share a few life-changing lessons. Not from a book. Not from a best-selling podcast. Just from one old soul to another. Lesson number 1, stop rushing. I know. We're wired to move fast. We spent decades hustling, for promotions, for approval, for milestones that never seem to end. But here's the truth. Life isn't a checklist. It's a sunrise. A warm drink. A quiet laugh. If you're still measuring your days by productivity, try something different. Measure them by peace. Did you pause long enough to feel the sun on your face today? Did you look into someone's eyes and really listen? Did you laugh, even once? Because those are the moments that stick. Lisa, an 82-year-old woman, once stepped onto her porch in tears. Her family rushed to her, worried. When they asked why, she whispered, "I was 12 years old yesterday." Time flies. Don't wait for retirement or permission to slow down. The world will keep spinning. But you deserve to stop and breathe. Lesson number 2, protect your energy. By now, you've probably figured it out. Not every battle is worth your fight. Not every voice deserves your ear. You have the right to walk away from chaos. Not in anger, but in wisdom. Scott was 47 when a life-changing injury took away everything he loved. Now at 60, disabled, he thought life was over, until one message reminded him that hope still existed. He said, "This video gave me hope again." That's the kind of peace we all deserve. And you can protect it by choosing carefully. The people you allow in. The news you consume. The conversations you entertain. You've earned the right to say no. To rest without guilt. To be unavailable without explanation. Your peace is not a luxury. It's your birthright. Lesson number 3, let go. Let go of the version of yourself that thought success had to look a certain way. Let go of the friend who drifted without closure. Of the grudge you've nursed for too long. Of the past self who didn't know better. Peter, a wise soul, once shared this. Be careful how you talk to yourself, because you're listening. Sometimes, the heaviest weight we carry isn't the loss, the regret, or even the people. It's the voice in our heads saying we should have done better. You don't need permission to let go. You don't need an apology to move on. You just need the courage to say, "I'm done carrying this." Because here's the truth. Life gets lighter when you travel with less baggage. Let me pause here. If anything I've said so far made you exhale, smile, or feel something soften in your chest, that's no accident. That's the real you nodding quietly in agreement. And that's where the next part begins, because what I'm about to share next might just change the way you show up for the rest of your life. Forgiveness. It took me a long time to understand this. Forgiveness isn't about the other person, it's about setting yourself free. And I'm not just talking about the big betrayals, though I've had a few. I'm talking about the small ones too. The friend who never called back. The partner who couldn't love you the way you needed. The old version of yourself you keep beating up in your head. At some point, you've got to ask, why am I still carrying this? Because here's the truth. You don't need closure to move forward. You don't need someone to say, "I'm sorry," to find peace. You just need the strength to whisper, I'm done holding this pain. And when you do, life gets quieter, softer, lighter. Just ask Diane, who at 67 shared this. To succeed, take ownership of your emotions. Blaming others only adds to your guilt and blocks your growth. She's right. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's wisdom with open hands. It's not too late. Not even close. This might be the most important thing I say today. If you're 50, 60, 70, even 80, you are not too late. You are not too old. You are not finished. Leo started Taekwondo at 50. By 55, his master called him Benjamin Button. Now, at 62, he's still training, and still getting stronger. He said it best. Age is just a number. Your energy is what counts. I started writing again at 74. Not for anyone else. Just for me, not to be great. Just to be whole. We stop doing things to impress, and start doing them to reconnect. With ourselves, with joy, with life. So if you've been telling yourself it's too late to start that hobby, write that book, go back to school, fall in love, start a garden, please stop. Start now. Start small. Just start. JL, at 70, said he was shifting careers after retiring 3 times. His advice? Wisdom isn't just knowing avocados and tomatoes are fruits. It's knowing not to put them in a fruit salad. There's still time to laugh. To learn. To begin again. Cherish simplicity. We spend our youth chasing big dreams. But in the second half of life, it's the small moments that feel like gold. The quiet cup of tea. The phone call that ends with, "I love you." The soft blanket on a cold morning. The sound of rain on the window. Mike, at 49, said, "I've realized ignoring financial fears is a dangerous gamble. Hoping the next 16 years will magically fix everything, that's not realistic. It's time to face things head on." He's not just talking about money. He's talking about life. About facing what matters now, not waiting for the perfect moment. Because the perfect moment is never promised, but this one is here. Right now. That's what contentment looks like. Being grateful for what is, not just longing for what might be. Deborah, 71, said it best. "I still love playing with my grandkids. That joy keeps me young." That's the magic. Not flashy. Not loud. Just real. Let yourself be soft again. We spend decades toughening up. Teaching ourselves to hide the cracks. To be strong. To keep going. To not show weakness. But here's a truth I've only learned recently. Softness isn't weakness. It's strength that doesn't need to shout. Arthur, nearly 64, said, "You're never done learning or growing. There's more joy now, and disappointment feels like a thing of the past." Imagine that. A life where peace matters more than pride. Where you don't have to win the argument. Where you don't have to be right, just kind. That's not giving up. That's growing up. So before we move on, let me ask you. What's something you've always wanted to try, but told yourself it was too late for? Because maybe, just maybe, it's time to rewrite that story. You're still here. You're still breathing. And there's more life waiting for you than you think. So here we are. If you've come this far, if you've listened with an open heart, then I want to leave you with this. Be gentle. With yourself. With others. We spend so much of our lives trying to be tough. To hold it together. To keep marching, even when our hearts feel heavy. But at this stage in life, I've learned something else. Gentleness is not weakness. It's wisdom softened by compassion. Grace, at 80, just started her YouTube channel 3 months ago. Yes, 80. She's out there creating, sharing, showing the world that being real is far more powerful than being perfect. And that's what this journey is all about. Not chasing more, not fixing everything, but showing up with softness and strength, both at once. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Let some people be wrong about you. Let silence speak louder than defense. Peter said it beautifully. Be careful how you talk to yourself, because you're listening. If you want to grow, start there. Speak to yourself the way you would to someone you love deeply, kindly, patiently, with forgiveness. You're still needed. Yes, you. Even if you feel invisible in a world that moves too fast. Even if your hands are slower now, or your steps more careful. You carry stories. Wisdom. Humor. Depth. Lori, turning 58, said this message came at just the right time. That one quote about self-talk changed her perspective instantly. That's the kind of impact your voice can have, if you share it. We are not past our prime. We are in it. Because our prime is not about youth, it's about meaning. Let go of the need to have all the answers. You don't need to control everything. You don't need to rush healing or force clarity. Peace doesn't come from figuring it all out. It comes from learning to sit with the unknown, from trusting that life will unfold, even if it doesn't look like the plan. Rick, who moved to a ridgeline in the Ozarks after losing his wife, said, "Wisdom is the best weapon anywhere." And he's right. It's what anchors us when everything else feels uncertain. Let's end with a question. What's one simple thing that brings you peace these days? Is it a song? A quiet morning? A memory? Leave a comment and share it. You never know who might read your words and feel a little more grounded, a little more seen. And while you're at it, if this felt like the conversation you didn't know you needed, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with someone who's been carrying too much alone. We've lived long enough to know the loudest messages aren't always the most powerful. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can offer the world is your quiet truth, spoken gently. So here's to living slower.to, loving deeper.to, showing up, flaws, laugh lines, softness and strength included. Here's to living your best life, at any age.